At its core, mobile money is centered on a high-volume, low-value business model. The business model is sustained through effective and far-reaching agent distribution networks. In response to COVID-19, providers are implementing locally specific adaptation strategies that underscore the resilience of the mobile money business. This next session features 2 interviews focused on the unique role of mobile money during the crisis. For the first interview, we welcome Diallo, Chief Executive Officer, Orange Mobile Financial Services, Senegal. Rama will provide a provider's perspective on how Orange is adapting to the crisis in Senegal.
As we all know, COVID is both a health crisis and an economic crisis. So the first effect really is obviously on the health of our populations and also in the early days, restrictions in movement, etc. And that clearly had an impact on economic activity. So in the earlier part of the pandemic, meaning March, April, May, we saw just a slowdown in economic activity, and that obviously was reflected in our activities. We were able to put in place a number of measures to kind of help in the first part of the pandemic. And those measures we started, but then they were enhanced by measures brought on board by the regulator. So essentially, they were around making fees free for essential services. So paying electricity and water bills was free. We also took to zero merchant fees, and that was really specifically to encourage the use of contactless payments. We just launched at the end of last year in Senegal, for example, payment via QR code. So we're really trying to encourage not just merchant payments, but contactless payments. And that became incredibly relevant, even more relevant with COVID. We also saw some changes in the rules as far as identifying customers when they sign up for Orange Money or for mobile money services across the country. And that was a relaxing of identification rules brought about by the central bank. And we were able to sign up a vast number of customers on a sort of bulk basis, obviously with their authorization coming through by accepting their PINs, all of that obviously done within the rules. But the interesting thing is that the ultimate effect of that, we saw more than 350,000 customers just in Senegal take up mobile money, take up a mobile wallet. And the vast majority, 99% of them transacted, whether it was receiving a remittance, whether intra-country or out-of-country remittance, or paying bills, etc. We certainly saw a slowdown as far as remittances coming into the country overall. So Senegal, when we look at where the remittances come from, Spain, France, the United States, Italy, these are the top 4 countries. And as you know, these are countries that were very hard hit by the pandemic. So we saw a slowdown in the numbers. So what we're starting to see in June, July is some pickup. But we remain very prudent in terms of our expectations, given that by now, we're sitting here in August. It is clear that this is a rolling pandemic, and it's going to be around for a while. So we need to just get used to managing it on an ongoing basis for at least the next year, is my sense. One of the really interesting things and very encouraging things we've seen with the customer base who signed up for the mobile money wallet during the pandemic is that for the first time we saw parity in between the men and the women who signed up for our services. We have had this goal of increasing to 40+% the number of women in our base, and we've continuously tried to push that forward. But it was particularly interesting and encouraging for us to see that when we relaxed identification rules, at least around COVID, we were able to sign up on a 50-50 basis. So we're very encouraged by that, and we hope as we go forward that we will find a way to not only continue to have parity in the number of customers that we sign up, but that in even our products, our customer service, that we will be in a position to further deepen female financial inclusion, female financial freedom, and hopefully, female sovereignty. I think collaboration is really going to win the after COVID. We have seen a lot of appetite from our government, from NGOs, from municipalities for using the wallet to make payments, whether these are salary payments or these were direct cash transfers to populations during this pandemic to support them. We did, a payment for more than 5,000 people for the municipality of Dakar. I'm sure you've seen in the news, Orange Money was also selected by the government in Côte d'Ivoire to pay billions of CFA francs in direct cash transfers. So what we've seen, one of the salutary effects of this crisis has been really an acceleration in mindsets, but also in action. So we see a lot of demand from all sorts of organizations, small, medium, large, for what we call payment, salary payment as a product, which is really just paying any sort of transfer, whether it's a salary or something else. So that is something we are really trying to work hard to absorb as demand. We're also pushing to have more APIs, so to facilitate the interaction with our partners, to facilitate responding to the demand that I described. This is something that we're already doing at Orange in terms of supporting startups, funding startups either through Orange Digital Ventures or through a number of competitions, Orange Fab, whether it's money, mentorship, partnership. There's a vast number of programs that Orange has across all its geographies to really create or sustain or accelerate the ecosystem. And I think out of that ecosystem will come some of the key innovations, some of the key products and services of the future of mobile money or just of digital financial services. Not everything is going to come out of the banks or the big telcos. We actually very much count on that startup ecosystem. We are also going to be working very closely with what I call the mega fintechs, the Visas, the MasterCards of the world, the Ant Financials of the world. We are going to, we've already started working with them, so this is not new, but those partnerships are going to have to be deepened as well and probably accelerated in terms of what types of services or what types of products they had in mind or we had in mind. And the timeline will have to be very much brought forward to really respond to the time, to rise to this opportunity where, yes, it is a difficult crisis, but it's also an opportunity not to waste.
Thank you, Rama. For the second part of this interview, we will now host Faith Keza, Chief Executive Officer of Irembo Gov, Rwanda's one-stop portal for e-government services. Faith will highlight how providers are moving the needle on digitization through partnerships and by offering channels for mass market digital payments.
Thank you for your question. Irembo Gov is a platform where citizens can apply for services ranging from birth certificates to marriage certificates, land transfers, visas, and the like. And MNOs play three important roles in this process online. First and foremost, we use them to authenticate citizens online. Every Rwandan has a registered phone number that is linked to their national ID, at least those over 16 years of age. And that's the phone number that we use when they're trying to access certain information online to verify that it's indeed them. The second role that they play is that they are a preferred payment channel for most Rwandans. Between 40 and 50% of citizens every year choose to pay for their online services via mobile money, either with MTN or Airtel. Lastly, as email and postal service delivery haven't picked up in Rwanda so that the government can deliver various documents or services that way, SMS is a really, really important channel that we use to reach citizens and give them updates on their traffic fines, documents, application statuses, and the like. This actually works mostly because smart or feature phones are accessible through these means. Public services demand tracks with the general economic performance. When people are moving, when people are transacting, traveling, getting jobs, graduating, that's usually the transition point within which they want government services. With the start of the pandemic, most people are not actually doing some of these activities, and generally we've seen a slowdown in demand for digital public services. However, it's been really good that MTN, Airtel, and their payment channels have been still available for the citizens who still want to access certain services online as they have been at home. The most notable new service we launched over the last 3 months is the COVID-19 test booking service, where citizens can apply for a test at the various centers in Kigali. This was in partnership with the Rwanda Biomedical Center, and it's aimed at slowing down the spread of the disease by having people know their statuses or get tested early and often. As most institutions review their internal workflows and learn to go digital and work remotely, we haven't seen an immediate uptick in the demand for institutions to put more services online, but this is a trend that we see growing in the near future. It is very important that every public digitization initiative be first and foremost citizen-centric. What citizens want are easy, fast, efficient services. With digitization, it's also an opportunity to rethink and re-engineer how services are fundamentally delivered, and not simply to digitize the manual processes as is. This is especially an exciting time to digitize public services, as now everyone understands that it's not a nice to have, but a must have.